Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our first Circle of Knowledge event of the year, the Pillars of Wellbeing Mindfulness Workshop. My name is Crystal Reynolds, and I am the Director of Communications here at the Family Institute at Northwestern University. For those of you that are newer to the Family Institute, we, through research, education, and therapy, practice relationship-based behavioral health care, where we are committed to strengthening and healing children, adolescents, families, and individuals from all walks of life. In today's session, Karla Hargrove will introduce you to the practice of mindfulness, where she will discuss how it can be incorporated into daily life and lead you through a brief mindfulness exercise. Following the presentation, we will have time for questions, and at that time, you may submit your questions in the Q&A chat box. Our speaker today, Ms. Karla Hargrove, is a staff therapist and certified teacher of mindfulness-based stress reduction. Ms. Hargrove brings a diverse background of education and life experiences into her healing work as a trauma-centered psychotherapist. Ms. Hargrove offers a vulnerable space that empowers clients to become stakeholders in their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and relational wellness. Thank you all again for joining us today, and Karla, I will turn it over to you.
It would help if I unmuted myself, wouldn't it? Crystal, thank you so much for that kind introduction, and greetings to all of you, wherever you may be on this snowy Wednesday. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be present, to learn about mindfulness. As Crystal said, I am a staff therapist here. I also teach the mindfulness-based stress reduction program. I value this practice of mindfulness because it allows me to be both a teacher and student. And so it's something I'm really looking forward to sharing with all of you today. And to begin, one of the qualities I have to say that I love the most about mindfulness is that it's something that's already a part of our makeup as human beings. While it does have philosophical and spiritual roots within Zen Buddhism, mindfulness in itself is universal. This is something that you already have the ability within yourself to do, which is to pay attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. And when we say that word judgment, judgments means this is our own interpretation or assumptions or beliefs that filter the reality that we're living in day to day. It's filtered by our own perception of what we're just seeing through our lens. So it can be helpful, particularly in times during our lives that are particularly stressful or things feel really heavy and burdensome, if there are ways we can let go of some of that judgment, if we can come back to being within the here and now and noticing parts of our day-to-day life that aren't maybe feeling as though they are in pain or so uncomfortable all of the time. And so for this next hour or so, I would like to spend this time with you mostly engaged within practice, the practice of being mindful. And practice does not mean that it's perfect. There's no right or wrong way of practicing mindfulness. Whatever it is that comes into your awareness throughout the practices that we'll be doing, you can make it a part of your mindfulness meditation, so to speak. So I want to hopefully take off any limits or ideas of what this is supposed to look like. Again, every day you can find new ways of being mindful, and I hope some of the tools you learned here today can support you in certain areas of your life that you're looking for. Within the guided meditations that I'll be leading, I also want to normalize that it may feel different slowing down right now. This may be a part of your day where it's normally pretty busy or you're eating lunch. So I recognize that this is a switching off from what you normally do or what has automatically been part of your day on a Wednesday. So I want to recognize that and also honor that in the time that we share together. And then within the meditations that we'll do, noticing our thoughts as they arise. And one of the intentions of mindfulness is not to empty our brains. It's not to not think. It's really just to be aware of what's going on within our minds, to be aware of the thoughts as they enter. And with practice, you can actually learn really, really helpful ways of being more of an observer of your thoughts rather than always a participant within your thoughts. And this can often happen when we're maybe being fueled by stress or feeling very anxious, and we feel like our thoughts are pulling us way ahead in the future. Or sometimes our thoughts are maybe pulling us in the past in some ways. So we're never really actually present within our thinking. So just noticing that as if that arises for you in the practice, and just noticing that those thoughts are there, and then letting go of the judgment that this is right or wrong. Our minds are designed to wander, so they're just doing what they're doing. So to begin, I want to introduce the formal practices that I plan to teach today. We'll be doing an awareness of breath. We'll be doing a very gentle body scan. And then we'll be closing out with a practice in self-compassion. And there's reasons why I chose these practices. For one, I picked awareness of breath because often when we are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, our breathing is one of the first things that we lose sight of. We can actually go throughout the day holding our breath and we're not really aware of it. And this can have compounding impacts on our mental and emotional and physical health over time if we constantly are holding our breath throughout the day. So intentionally bringing awareness to our breathing, we're going to intentionally activate what's known as a deep belly breath to switch on that rest and digest cycle and switch off from some of that fight or flight response, that reactivity mode that we may be going throughout the day. So bringing that awareness into our practice. And then I chose a body scan because this is one way of starting to build a very rich and deep relationship between the mind and the body. Know that your body is always communicating with you. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, your body is constantly sending you signals. But we can sometimes feel really switched off from our bodies, really disconnected, or maybe numbed or suppressed to parts of ourselves physically throughout the day, and not really tuned into what our body is cueing us to. So in a body scan, we're bringing our awareness within and getting used to some of those signals, getting used to that communication and how this can cultivate a sense of awareness and a sense of wisdom within your body. That's naturally already there. So I'm looking forward to guiding you through that. And then the final meditation will be a practice of self-compassion. And this is really taking a look at how you treat yourself. It's a way of being able to receive perhaps what you freely give to others, whether that's love, acceptance, forgiveness. It's a way of receiving that for yourself. And this portion of how is actually a really big tie-in with mindfulness. The how I treat myself, what happens within me can often be an extension of what goes on outside of me too. So carving out some of that self-compassion space before we close the practice. So to start out with, I would invite you all to just settle in your space. You may be sitting at a desk like me. So if you need, or if you have the space available, you're welcome to lay down on a sofa, on a yoga mat, whichever is most comfortable for you, whatever can support your body in the best way possible. If you are seated in the chair, I would invite you to make sure your feet are planted firmly beneath you, both feet on the floor. Again, if it's accessible for you, take off your shoes, make yourself comfortable, really, really ground yourself, okay, in the here and now. This is being recorded, so there's no need to write anything down. You'll have this as a resource to go to, so don't worry about taking notes. Let your hands be free, all right, and open to receive right now. And to guide into our practice, I would like to just do just a little bit of gentle stretching. You may have had already a very busy day. And I want for you to just settle into what your body needs. So with some gentle stretching, maybe just doing like a gentle guide for yourself even. But if you'd like to follow me, we're going to just start with Stretching even the wrists of our hands. A lot of us sit behind a computer desk all day, and we're not always aware of these very, very delicate areas of our bodies, like our wrists. So just taking a moment to stretch them out, stretching them for a moment. And then doing a few just shoulder rolls back, doing some shoulder rolls forward. You may notice that your breath is already deepening, just doing some of these gentle, gentle movements. These are things you can do throughout the day when you start your day. And if available to you, just doing a gentle pull here along the side of your neck. These neck muscles do so much for us throughout the day. It can often be a place where you hold a great deal of tension or tightness. So just keying into those very, very fine muscle groups, noticing where there's a release. And even for those of you who tend to carry a great deal of tightness in the face, maybe even just doing a gentle massage right here along the forehead and around the eyes. If you wear eyeglasses, you might notice a pressure along the bridge of your nose, just bringing some gentleness to these muscle groups, relaxing the jaw, especially, okay? And settling in. If you need to do more stretching or more movement, you're welcome to do so. And when you're ready, settling into your posture, whether on a mat, a sofa, or in a chair like myself. And if you can allow your hands to be open, this is a posture of openness, a posture of willingness, acceptance, having open hands either on your armrests or seated within on top of your lap. And when you're ready, allowing your eyes to close or lower to the ground, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And to begin our practice, I'm going to ring the bell. I have 3 times. And to close our practice, I'll close with the sound of one bell. To begin this awareness of breath, guided meditation, I encourage you to allow this to be a time where you embrace your full self. That this would be a time of switching off from the day, a time of slowing down. And being fully present where you are right now. And noticing if during our practice, if thoughts or emotions arise, that's very normal. You can make everything part of your practice. You're welcome at any time to open your eyes and always return to breathing at any point within any of the meditations that we do. And now bringing our awareness to our breath, noticing the flow of breath as you inhale and as you exhale. without necessarily doing anything to shift or change your breath, but just following the flow of air. If you notice your thoughts are busy or your mind is very active from the day, just noticing those thoughts. And with a gentle firmness, bringing your awareness back to the sensations of breathing, the sensations of heat or coolness along the nostrils, the upper lip. Noticing the air as it hits the back of your throat. Experiencing the fullness of breath in your lungs or in your rib cage. You may even notice a gentle push along your belly, treating the breath as its own life cycle that has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Continually inviting yourself back to the breath if you notice your mind wandering, or if certain feelings or body sensations are rising. If you notice the urge to perhaps move, just noticing. And with kindness, returning back to the breath. Allowing this breath to be an anchor, this anchor that may invite a kind pause throughout your day. Practice this pause. As you inhale and exhale, Bringing in awareness to the pause in between. That this pause is with you wherever you go. And with eyes still closed or lowered, I would like to read a short poem by Jane O'Shea titled My Balm. I close my eyes and sigh, and here I am lying in the hammock in my heart, moving gently with the soft air of my breath. When I fall from my head past my words, I'm caught lovingly by the hammock of my heart and rocked to its rhythmic beat. It is my peace, my rest, my quiet, cradled in the hammock of my heart. It is constant. It is safe to be held in the hammock of my heart. No place to go, nothing to do, nobody to please. It is my altar, my blessing, my balm, here in the hammock of my heart. I want to invite you now to bring your awareness to the soles of your feet as we begin a gentle body scan. And at any point in this scan, you're welcome to return to your breath. We begin with our feet because it can be helpful to get out of our minds sometimes through the day. So bringing awareness to the soles of your soles that may be pushed against a flat surface or a rug. You may notice sensations of clothing, perhaps a temperature of heat or coolness. But allowing your awareness to shift here for a moment, to be present with your right and left foot. Noticing that if thoughts arise or emotions arise, the brain is doing what it does. And you're welcome to allow emotions to have a seat at this table as well. And then kindly inviting your awareness back to the soles of your right and left foot. It's helpful, you're welcome to envision a gentle light illuminating your feet. And envisioning that light now gliding gently up the right and left ankles, being curious about what is happening in these parts of our bodies, experiencing any sensations that may be present here right now. Now allowing the light to cover your right and left leg, covering the shin, calf muscle, bringing a curiosity and a beginner's mind to these parts of yourself. Gently moving over the right and left knee that may be bent or extended depending on your posture. Noticing these joints that are now still and letting go of any judgment around these areas or parts of yourself. Envisioning the light now covering your right and left thighs, the largest muscle in our bodies. Again, letting go of judgment. And you may notice emotions that arise, and if helpful, you're welcome at any point again to open your eyes and return to breathing. Shifting our awareness now to our hips and seat bones. And allowing this light to now slowly move up the torso of our upper bodies, being present with the sensations along our lower back or spine. What do you notice here? Bringing awareness also to sensations in your abdomen, that gentle push of air along the belly, moving up to the chest, to the home of our heart and lungs that are constantly working so hard for us each day. And scanning over our arms and hands, hands that are open, hands that are still, being present with how this feels in this part of your day, to embrace stillness and to rest in awareness now. And taking a moment here to listen to your body from the neck down. These parts of you that make you a whole being, but you may feel in some ways disconnected from. If you notice where there's tension or tightness, intentionally bringing some ease to those areas of your body where muscle may be contracted, letting go, allowing that muscle to rest. And with eyes still lowered or closed, I would like to read a short poem by Martha Elliott titled, "Your History is Here Inside Your Body." Your history is here inside your body. Your body is your storehouse of learnings, feelings, thoughts, and experiences, only waiting to be invited to reveal your treasures to yourself. Help yourself as you let the learning emerge and take shape. You can appreciate the wisdom of the body, each cell alive with spirit, emotion, and intelligence, ready to help you at any moment, always with you and for you. I invite you now to bring your awareness back to the sensations of breathing. If you noticed perhaps something pulled into your center of awareness, or if thoughts are carrying you or emotions, just noticing that those are arising right now. And that we have the ability to empower ourselves of choosing where we want our awareness to settle. So returning back to breathing, noticing if the breath in your body has perhaps deepened, there's a different fullness or aliveness. Tuning in with your body's sensations if they've changed just over these few moments. And in this practice of self-compassion, I welcome you, if you are willing, to place one hand over your heart. You're welcome to place a hand on your belly, or if it's more comfortable to leave your arms by your side in an upward facing position, that is fine too. Placing a hand on these areas of our bodies can be an extension of compassion, an extension of gratitude, of kindness. A welcoming of what you freely give, perhaps to others every day. And as you inhale and exhale, allowing yourself to know what it is that you need the most right now. And sometimes in knowing what we need, it requires us to let go of things that are no longer working for us in certain parts of our life or day, where there's a fighting against or a stress or a strain. Treating myself with compassion means I can also love myself fiercely and treat myself as kindly as I treat others. What is it that I need the most right now? Where do I need to let go? And what do I need to expand in order to have a healthier or more balanced relationship to myself or to others? And in this final reading, I would like to share the words of Dorothy Hunt from her poem, Peace is This Moment Without Judgment. Do you think peace requires an end to war or tigers eating only vegetables? Does peace require an absence from your boss, your spouse, yourself? Do you think peace will come some other place than here, some other time than now, in some other heart than yours? Peace is this moment without judgment. That is all. This moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Peace is this moment without thinking that it should be some other way, that you should feel some other thing, that your life should unfold according to your plans. Peace is this moment without judgment, this moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. I invite you now to take in 3 intentionally deep breaths with eyes still lowered and closed. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through an open mouth can make your breath audible to hear. And in the exhale, noticing what you are letting go of. If it's tension, if it's stress, if it's discomfort, anxieties, uncertainties. And inhaling peace of mind. Inhaling a kind compassion. Inhaling choice and freedom. That you are welcome to take with you throughout the day. You're welcome to open your eyes, allow your eyes to adjust back to the moment that you're in now, to the light that may be around you. I want to sincerely thank you all for taking the time to practice with me. There's certainly a benefit in the practice and how practicing informs us of our own body's wisdom. And so I thank you all just for being open to this today and allowing yourself the opportunity to pause. I also want to share um, just a few tips of how you can take this practice with you. One of the things I like to do is create a space just within a minute of my day, a minute to essentially be mindful, a minute to just pause, to reconnect with myself, to be curious about what's going on inside of me. If I notice that I'm reacting to certain things or maybe to certain people in a way that doesn't do my body or my mind too much justice. So taking a moment to find the pause within 1 minute. We practiced just now for about 20 to 25 minutes, but doing just 1 minute of this practice can add such significant benefits to your day. The opportunity of just switching off from being on autopilot, and especially if you feel like my days just seem to keep going and going and going. Taking that moment to pause, practicing that pause, and remembering that pause is with you within your breath. It's already existing right here, and you can take it and apply it wherever you need to. Another way that you can bring more mindfulness into your day is through movement. So we started out our practice just with a little bit of gentle stretching. So if you want to even start just with your day with some gentle stretches, just awakening your body, or if you are out in your work environment, sitting behind a desk, just taking a few moments just to stretch, noticing where your body might be holding on to some tension or some tightness, some discomfort, and allowing that to find some ease throughout the day rather than holding it till you come home at night, so to speak. You can find mindfulness in your walking, you can find it in your exercise. Again, it's paying attention on purpose to what's happening right now, and then letting go of the judgment. So connecting mindfulness to movement is something that you can do throughout the day or carve out a space at some point to make it more of a formal practice for yourself. And the last tip I'll share right now is I'm sure many of you have heard about the benefits of creating a gratitude list. Gratitude is really one way of connecting to our joy. It's a way of increasing our own happiness. And this can be so, so helpful and so, so rewarding, particularly if you feel like the world is in a lot of pain, or maybe you personally are experiencing some physical pain, maybe relational pain, there's financial pain that you're in. So it can sometimes be a challenge to experience joy or experience happiness. But coming back to what it is that I'm grateful for, what it is that I can embrace right now to increase some happiness when, especially when the clouds feel really, really heavy, and maybe just finding that little glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. And on really hard days, I understand sometimes the gratitude we may have is just that we have breath in this body. So know that that anchor is with you whenever you need it, that even when things around you may feel heavy and intense, the gratitude, I'm breathing, I'm still whole, and I'm still here, I'm still present. There's a quote I really love from John Kabat-Zinn, and he says, as long as you're breathing, there's more right with you than wrong with you. And so I hope some of these formal teachings are ways you can integrate them into your daily life, and something that you can carry with you throughout the day. So thank you. And Crystal, I know there may have been I wanted to make sure we left some time for some questions as well.
Sure. There well, a couple of questions that came in before this session, and a few were centered around sleep and just the inability to sleep or have uninterrupted sleep, and how mindfulness can support or calm your mind to get uninterrupted sleep.
Yeah, that's a really great question. You know, when we have disturbances in our sleep, that can be one of the first symptoms when we know there may be certain imbalances in other areas of life. And when our sleep gets interrupted, or if we find that we have difficulty falling asleep, we may need to also look at other patterns of our life. And if we're dealing with a great deal of stress, if we maybe have certain areas of our life um, that are feeling some anxiousness or perhaps some depression, it's good to take a look at those, and also how they're impacting your quality of sleep. So something that can be really helpful is, before you go to bed, having some type of grounding practice. And this is something, if you have already a meditation app, you can do a short meditation at the end of your day. And similar to the body scan one, the body scan meditation that we did, I would recommend doing a meditation that gets you out of your brain, that gets you out of your thoughts, especially if you're noticing a lot of anxious thoughts at the end of the day. You're thinking about tomorrow, you're thinking about everything that didn't get done. So coming into the body, intentionally bringing your awareness inward, and that's going to get you out of your thoughts for a while. And I want to also highlight that thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are not factual. Sometimes we can be reacting to our thoughts as though they're facts, as though they're carved in cement, but noticing that they are just thoughts, and you can practice being an observer of them. So doing a practice at the end of their day that can tune you inward to your body can help to find some of that sense of calm in your mind. Um, and you can switch off from being so engaged within your thinking and being more present within your body, especially at the end of the day as you're unwinding. Um, so those are some tips that I would recommend.
Thank you. There's a couple of questions about just consistency or not being very good of getting into a meditative state and staying there. So do you have any tips to keep up with or to be consistent in the practice?
I do. So this is something that I get. I know one of the things I say, I'm a teacher and I'm a student. So I'm also finding my own balance. In addition to being, having a career, I'm also a wife. I'm a mother of two young kids, 5 and 4. So I also feel sometimes that stretch to create balance and to create consistency, particularly when it comes to formal practice, when I can sit on a cushion, when I can lie down on a mat. So I'm also in a similar place as you. So this is where I recommend using both formal and sometimes more informal ways of practicing mindfulness. And when I say informally, this is really a way of activating your senses. I'm just going to bring my awareness to one thing. Within a multitude of things that I might be doing, I'm going to bring my awareness to this one thing right here, right now. I'm going to be aware to how I'm listening when I'm talking to my 5-year-old daughter, listening with my full self. If I'm making a cup of tea, I'm going to maybe bring my awareness to the sensations of heat, smelling the aroma of the tea, and allowing myself just to be with some of those soothing sensations as I'm drinking it. I also want to maybe avoid or put away some other distractions. So setting my phone aside, having the television off, not listening to any podcasts. So the more I can switch off from any other distractions that might be going on, because there's certainly enough in the day that has my attention, those are helpful ways of just being more and more present. And that in itself can help to bring consistency. So I really encourage anyone, again, this doesn't have to look a certain way. You can do this in formal ways like we did just now, but also informally. I can be present with myself, and I can be, and in that practice of being present, I can also adjust my own expectations of what I need, what's realistic for me today. So if let's say a goal you had was maybe to do 30 minutes of practice a day, but you have a really full work day or work week, adjusting those expectations, letting go of some of them, and knowing that, if I have 5 minutes, I can benefit from 5 minutes. And that can make a world of difference in my day or in my life. And so switching off from some of that multitasking, putting away some distractions where you can, and really activating those senses of yours through sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and using those as a way to continue to bring you back to the here and now.
Thank you. And a few people asked about how teens can use mindfulness to deal with anxiety or stress that they might be having.
I love that question, Crystal. These last few years have certainly been hard on our young people, and they're dealing with very different stressors right now, particularly in school, when it comes to relationships, both in person or online. So our adolescents certainly need support with what they're going through in today's modern world. So similarly, for teens who may struggle with anxiety or feel like they're ruminating over things like taking a test, going to school, being present in some of these relationships with friends, if there's bullying or, things of that nature, encouraging your teen to find that centering as well, finding something that helps them to stay grounded, something that helps them to stay anchored, and something that is also factual, right? I think all of us can sometimes get caught up in the narrative and the story that we may be assuming that's happening, especially when it comes to peer relationships. And again, those are layers of judgments. And so recognizing those, that there's the thought about the experience, but then the actual experience of the day-to-day itself can be very, very different. So I would certainly encourage teens to develop just even a short practice of just being aware of their breath, being aware of the thoughts that they're thinking of, and being really in tune with how they feel. And then letting go of judgments of those. I think a lot of teens today, they're certainly embracing areas of mental and emotional health right now. Some may be much more open to these types of practices or tools. So it's certainly worth having a conversation. And I have a variety of resources there's ways I can share them, or if you want to contact me directly, share that can specifically be helpful for teens, but certainly having the conversation and supporting a teen to come back to a place that feels centered and grounded within themselves, so they're not feeling so activated or reactive to what might be going on around them in daily life.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Our teens really need support these days. I've gotten several questions about what other sessions might be available, and then a few specific questions about the 4-week workshop that you have coming up, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that.
Yes, thank you for those questions. So actually in the month of February, I will be teaching a 4-week series starting February 7th, titled The Pillars of Well-Being. And each week we're going to cover a few of the attitudinal foundations of mindfulness. So what are the attitudes, right? So, when you're looking about areas of diving deeper into areas of acceptance, letting go, what it means to have a beginner's mind, curiosity, generosity, gratitude. And so we're going to be talking more about these, and those will be intertwined with practices as well. And these will be for 1 hour on Tuesdays. And for folks who choose to sign up for the 4-week series, you'll also be invited to do a retreat, a silent retreat with graduates from our mindfulness-based stress reduction program on February 18th. It is an all-day retreat, but you can do it for half a day if you like, but that option is going to be available for you. And I'll have more information about when our next mindfulness-based stress reduction series will be starting, but it'll be beginning sometime in March. We just need to set the date. So, but that'll be the next workshop series that we'll be offering.
Okay, thank you. And if you have time for one more question, I know there are a couple of other clinicians on the call that have asked about how they can utilize this with their clients or help clients that might be convinced that mindfulness is not for them.
Oh, that's a really, really great question. Oh, I feel like I could answer that a few different ways. So I hear certainly judgment in there, like if their mindfulness has to look a certain way or I have to be a certain way, right? Like sitting still, being quiet. You can bring mindfulness into any part of your day. So it can be in how you communicate, it can be in how you treat yourself. You can be mindful in how you prepare your food in how you eat, noticing even, okay, I'm full right now, I'm not going to continue eating. There's various ways that you can embrace mindfulness. So it doesn't have to look so formal, like it's on a cushion or a mat all the time. So figuring out from your client, like, well, what does work for you? Where in your life are you very intentional and thoughtful? And if there's not a clear answer, well, then how can we build in some intentionality? How can you be a little bit more present? And then what's avoiding you from being present? Where do you notice you're avoiding, distracting, numbing, suppressing? And so there may need to be some additional support around that. And as therapists, I certainly get that. But finding out what's creating that barrier to the practice of presence, what's getting in the way. And so it might just be using some gentleness and some encouragement, but then allowing your clients to know, this is a practice that you can embrace in different ways. So if you enjoy running, walking, yoga, you can be mindful while doing those types of activities as well. So start where you are, definitely start where you are. And if it's more supportive to be engaged informally in these ways, off the cushion, so to speak, then I would certainly highlight that.
Thank you, Karla.
Thank you for the questions. I did. I know we just have about a minute of time, but I wanted to first thank everyone again for your presence today. I also want to encourage you to be mindful of how you engage with the rest of your day. Being mindful can allow things to come to the surface sometimes. And so you may need to have a little more space to kind of settle in wherever you're going from here. So if you need to take another pause, perhaps stand up and walk around for a bit, I encourage you to just be in the rhythm of what your body is asking for, noticing what emotions you feel, and just bringing that into your awareness and treating yourself with some kindness of how you exit this space and go on to the next part of your day. But thank you so much for practicing with me.
Thank you, everyone.